want to give a special shout out to a very, very, very special group of people. To pull this off, our warden decided that she wanted to find the best camera crew possible. She didn't look outside of the Department of Corrections. She looked to Potosi and that correctional center. So our three guys from Potosi, just wave your hands right quick so everybody can see you. Thank you guys so much for making me look good on camera, because that's hard to do, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Are we all settled in? Ready to start? All right. Jamie Cochran is a man motivated most by finding ways to add value to the lives of others. I sometimes chuckle at his impulse to offer help or advice even when it's not solicited or desired. But that's just the man that he is, a man who's locked in on his purpose, wanting to make the world around him better by wanting to make the people around him better first. Please join me in your mind as we tune in to the newest episode of Recovery Radio, hosted by Jamie Cochran.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. Good job. Good morning, America. You are listening to Scrappy James here at Recovery Radio, a broadcast from the heart, where our lessons may become your blessings, where our history may predict your future, and where a sour truth turns into a sweet medicine. What am I doing here? The first time I asked myself that question, I was standing in San Diego Marine Corps boot camp asking myself, man, what am I doing here? Lately, you may have found yourselves asking the same question. And if you have, then let old Scrappy James encourage you to become a man of impact. Men of impact are intentional men pursuing a courageous transformation. A transformation is a complete, irreversible change. A pickle will never be a cucumber again. Have you ever seen anyone unboil an egg? No, you have not. Nor have you ever witnessed a butterfly reverting back into a caterpillar. It's a complete, irreversible change. If transformation is our destination, then how do we get there? Well, that's exactly what today's broadcast is about, and we're going to start with being intentional. Intentional. We have a motivation that inspires a spring in our step. You will discover that people will not stop you when you're moving with a purpose. Did you know that something no thicker than a nickel can prevent a train from beginning to roll? Now think of the size of that something that it takes to stop that same train once it's moving with a purpose. Intentional men. Men, we hold ourselves accountable for every decision we make. Men, we consider the effect that our decisions are going to have on others, putting others ahead of ourselves as we see ourselves in others. Men, there was a man trying to watch this ball game on TV, and his son kept crawling up on his lap, getting in the way. The man seen a newspaper. It had a full-page ad on the back with a picture of a globe. He tore it into long strips and rips it into short pieces. He gets a roll of tape and he says, son, sit over here out of my way so I can see if you can tape this picture of the globe back together. A hot minute later, his son was standing back in front of him, proudly holding up a finished globe. And he said, son, how did you get that together so quickly? And he said, it was easy, Dad. On the back side of the globe, there was a picture of a man. And once I put the man back into its correct place, the whole wide world came together. Intentional men pursuing. Pursuing. We create a target and we aim for progress. Pursuing. This here is where we make a commitment. Commitment is important for the days when we hit that wall. Without a commitment, we lack the desire that fuels and empowers our pursuit of a courageous transformation. Intentional men pursuing A. A for Alpha. We are leaders. When your actions inspire others to dream more, to learn more, to do more, to become more, then you are a leader. Words like I, me, and my will be replaced with words like we, together, and us. Intentional men pursuing A, courageous. Courage. Through our actions, we grow in our courage to take further actions. We replace doubt with new faith. Our faith is then courageous as we seek to improve our self-image. We improve our self-image by doing the right thing. And when we're doing the right things, man, you let old Scrappy James show you today that there is no room for guilt and shame, thus creating a courageous transformation. Now, transformation takes willingness. To show you an act of willingness, I'll ask that you empty your hands of everything. Please lace them together as if you were going to pray. Notice which thumb is on the top. Now I'm going to ask that you take one hand, turn it just enough, and lace it back together. Hold it. You feel how it's uncomfortable? The first time I asked you to do it was a knee-jerk reaction. We didn't think twice about it. The second time we had to think about that change we were going to make. We had to use our will to change our position. Transformation is cultivated by our willingness to take new actions. As men of impact, you'll find that people will not believe everything that you say. They will believe everything that you do. I'll show you one more example that I learned from Zig Ziglar, and then we will close. I'll ask that you empty your hands again. For this time, please hold them out in front of you, about shoulder width apart. Now I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, go, and then I want you to slap your hands together. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go! I told you exactly what I wanted you to do, and you ignored everything that I said. And you did exactly as I did. Courageous transformation is not cultivated by our wonderful words. It is created for the world to see by taking one right action at a time. What am I doing here? I'm maturing into a man of impact, an intentional man pursuing a courageous transformation. Thank you for taking the time to let old Scrappy James tickle your ears here at Recovery Radio, a broadcast from the heart, where our lessons may become your blessings, where our history may predict your future, and where a sour truth turns into a sweet medicine.
Thanks again, Jamie. Wonderful, wonderful job. Our next presenter is a man who needs no introduction here at Farmington. I'm going to give him one anyway, though. Relax. I'm going to give him one anyway. This is an individual who, I told you I was going to do it. Forgive me. Sometimes you don't understand the impact that you can have on the incarcerated just by letting them know that you care. And our next presenter is a man who, he's a man who has impacted me so greatly, because in a place where many people just see monsters and they just see criminals. They just see numbers. This is a man who sees humans. And every day he comes in and he finds a way to let us be human. Who's gonna fix my makeup? I just want to take the opportunity to personally and publicly say thank you to this individual. He's become a mentor and a very, very, very positive influence in my life. And I just butchered my intro card, and that's okay because I want him and his family to know just how much he means to us. Please welcome Matt Petty.
Okay, I'd like to start off today by talking about this word, whole. Throughout my career with the Department of Corrections, I often found myself assigned to our segregation unit, also known as the whole. Now, for those of you that are incarcerated here or you work here, you're very familiar with this word. But for those of you visiting, I want you to know the whole is the place where people end up who can't follow the rules. And while the whole would figure prominently throughout the course of my career, that isn't actually the whole that I want to talk about today. The whole that I'm speaking about now is the one that is present inside of all of us. It's one thing that we have in common, regardless of race, sex, color, birthplace, or belief system. From the beginning of time, humans have sought different ways to fill this hole. In fact, this room is full of people who have made questionable decisions in that pursuit. I know what you're thinking, and before you start to judge, I want you to understand, I'm not actually talking about the incarcerated people in the room. That's right, all of us are one poor decision away from being a resident instead of an employee or a visitor. The people that we're sitting next to, they're no different than you or I. Before creating victims, most of these people are victims themselves of people who have been pursuing negative avenues to fill their own void. And so as I set out to write this TEDx talk, I thought about my life, my upbringing, and my career. I want to take you on a journey and help you understand what love has to do with who and where I am today. I grew up in a military family. Both of my parents were very influential in making me who I am. My father would suffer a serious back injury very early on in his military career and would have to deal with severe back pain his entire life. Now, they taught me lessons about showing up, owning up to your responsibilities, and taking care of the people you love. So my most vivid memory of our last duty station was my mom waking me up in the middle of the night and telling me my dad couldn't get himself out of bed because he was in so much pain. But it wasn't my mom waking me up or me helping my dad out of bed that I actually remember the most. Now, ironically, it's what I don't remember that still impacts me to this day. See, a few short hours later when I got up to go to school, I don't remember seeing my dad in the house. I also don't remember seeing his truck in the driveway when I left to go to school. Now, he had already actually gotten up and gone to work, even after the night that he had just experienced. So in August of 2023, I was tasked with coordinating a large-scale event, much like the one that you're attending today. And in the early morning hours of the day of that event, a major storm system rolled through our area, causing widespread power outages and also significantly damaging our home. But despite having no power, having the rain pouring in through the hole in my roof, having to leave my wife at home alone to deal with all of that, and having very little sleep throughout the night, I still showed up so that the event could take place. Now, like everyone else that you're going to see on stage today, I had to audition for this event as well. And when I told that story to our organizing team for the first time, about my dad anyway, they said, "We always wondered what made you show up that day, even knowing everything else you had going on in your life on the outside, and now we understand why. It's basically history repeating itself." Now, I don't tell the story about me showing up to brag on myself, because a lot of other staff also showed up that day too. I only tell that story because I wanted to show you that even 30 years later, the impact that my parents have had on my life is still affecting me in my daily life. Thank you. On August 1st, 1995, I began working at a local bank. Now, I don't remember that date because it's the date that I started a brand new job. No, I remember that date because it's the first time I would lay eyes on the woman who years later would become my wife, Jan. Give her a round of applause for putting up with me all these years. The first time I saw her, she was standing in front of a window at the bank. The sun was coming in, much like these lights are today. It was illuminating her from behind and casting this blonde aura around her face. I've never come that close to seeing an angel before. And I knew I was in trouble. But she was married. She had a young son named Chase. We would be coworkers, but eventually we would become friends. Now, several years later, that marriage would end, and I would take my shot. And believe me, no one was more surprised than me when she said yes, and we began dating. As Ann Rice, one of our TEDx coordinators, would astutely point out after meeting my wife for the first time, "You, sir, are punching way above your weight class with that one." And you know what? I have to agree. But because we had known each other for so many years already, we quickly became close, our relationship progressed quickly, and I knew that she was the one. I also knew I would do whatever it took to take care of her and Chase. So I began to seek other employment opportunities. What you may not realize is in banking, you don't actually make a lot of money until you reach a certain level. One of my brothers was a corrections officer at another prison here in Missouri, and he knew they were opening a brand new maximum security prison in the same town that I lived in. He suggested I go to work there as a corrections officer because at the time, that position paid about $6,000 more a year than I was already making. Seems funny now, after 21 years, but my first thought, I do not want to work in a prison. No way, no thank you. But bills needed to be paid, and I needed to find a way to support this new instant family of mine. So I applied, I tested, and I interviewed, and in October of 2002, I was hired as a corrections officer. I entered the institution a little apprehensive, a little unsure, and maybe a little scared. But the routine would soon take over, and the job, it would become almost robotic. I'm ashamed to say that I actually saw the incarcerated as not much more than nameless faces that I had to deal with every day. Now, back then, the Department of Corrections really didn't give you a whole lot of raises, and so we were told to seek promotional opportunities in order to get those raises. So I began to attempt to promote. And as I promoted, I started to interact with the incarcerated population on a totally different level than I had as a corrections officer. They started to become more real to me as people, as I realized they have families and lives outside these walls the same way that I do. One time when I lost 2 family members within just a few days of each other and I was gone for the better part of a week, I returned to my office to find that several of the residents of the housing unit that I was assigned to had somehow found out and had gotten together and purchased a condolence card from the canteen. Each took a turn writing a note of encouragement and signing it, and they slid it under my door for me to find when I returned. That incident not only opened my eyes to further for our shared humanity, but also isn't something I will ever forget. My promotional track would lead me to corrections case manager. Now, case manager, that was where it was at. I really felt like you had accomplished something if you could achieve that position. And so all my efforts went to prepare myself for that. But due to changes in the position, it would take 7 very long years before I'd be able to realize that, but I finally made it. And I thought I had everything I ever wanted. But the hole inside of me, it still wasn't filled. I did everything I could think of. I helped more. I learned more. I interacted more. Still, something was missing. I felt like I had no purpose. Prison can be a dark place, especially working in maximum security. And without that purpose, I found instead of being the light in that darkness, I was being overtaken by it. My actions, my attitudes, and my behaviors had all deteriorated to the point where I finally had to take a step back and ask myself, how did I get here? And reevaluate my life, my career, and my commitment to my family and my faith. But my wife grabbed me by the hand and was instrumental in pulling me up out of that darkness, leading me back to that light in my faith. Her strength and capacity for love and forgiveness knows no bounds, and she is truly an amazing woman. And I'm proud to say that next month we will celebrate 21 years of marriage. Thank you. It hasn't always been easy, but we're still kicking. Yeah. So with all of that in mind, I thought maybe transferring to a lower level facility where people would sooner be going home, maybe that would be a remedy to that dark cloud and that lack of purpose that I was feeling. So in 2017, I transferred here, Farmington Correctional Center. And since my transfer, my overall outlook and my happiness has been vastly improved. In 2019, I was promoted to Case Manager 3, and I was assigned to our juvenile unit. Now, this position was of particular interest to me because I really felt like I could impact these young boys and help them become responsible young men by providing a positive male role model, education, and encouragement. And while I did find some satisfaction in that position, I still didn't feel like I had found my purpose. In 2022, I was asked to take over programs and to work in reentry. Now, I didn't know anything about reentry, and I really wasn't looking for a change. But as somebody who never backs down from a challenge, I said I'd give it a shot. And man, I'm so glad that I did. The work that we are doing to prepare the incarcerated for release back into society is not only very important, it's extremely rewarding. We are having a positive impact on our communities and actually society as a whole, because each person that we properly prepare to return to society means countless potential future victims are no longer at risk. And I am so thankful I get to be a part of it. Thank you, yeah. I experienced a lot of setbacks in both my life and my career, but looking back now, I realize they were actually set-ups to where I am today. I get to work with a great group of like-minded staff every day. Not only that, I work with a great group of incarcerated individuals who embody the word love, as their primary goal is to improve the lives of those who live and work at Farmington Correctional Center. Now, let's be honest, most of the time when someone who's incarcerated volunteers to do something, we as staff are generally like, okay, what's this guy really want? What's his angle? What's his motivation? But as I've worked shoulder to shoulder with this group for the better part of a year, I've come to realize they have no agenda except to improve lives and to be of service. And it is truly amazing to be a part of it. Thank you. Author and poet Albert Pike said it best: what we do for ourselves dies with us. What we do for others and the world remains and is immortal. If I had never taken over the position in the reentry center, I wouldn't have the opportunity to be involved in the things the way I have been. I wouldn't get the chance to do this kind of stuff. But there's a reason why your windshield is so much smaller than the rearview mirror. And it's because where you're heading is so much more important than where you've been. All right? Find your purpose. Get involved in positive things. Change the course of your life. So, we ask ourselves, what's love got to do with it? Well, I have parents that love me. I have a wife and son that love me. I have faith in a God that loves me. And now, I have a job I love. All right? That love makes me who I am today. And there's really only one word I can think of to explain it. Now I'm whole.
I'm on now, ain't I? All right. Thanks again, Mr. Petty, for that. Jan, he did it. He did it. He did it. All right. All right. Next, our next presenter, he's an individual who I'm encouraged by how he powerfully expresses the fact that even though incarceration separates us from those that we love, our love for them does not discontinue. And although they were first separated when his son Damien was only 3 months old, our next speaker gives his all to being the best father that he can in spite of being incarcerated. Accompanied by Alan Johnson on acoustic, please welcome Mr. Ali Cubba. Yes, sir.
I'm just a baby's daddy. And to me it's not a name. His favorite foods and colors. I do not know these things or where he sees for comfort. Where does he run? I pray to God in the heavens above, make me a father to my son. I feel so selfish in everything I do. Convince myself I love him because I bought some clothes and shoes. On the first day of school, who's gonna calm all his fears? And when he falls down, who's gonna wipe off his tears? These are the things that a dad's supposed to be, but I can't see myself doing these for my seed. Please, God, make me more than a baby's daddy. More than a baby's daddy. 'Cause to me it's not a name, his favorite foods and colors. I do not know these things or where he sees for comfort. Where does he run? I pray to God in the heavens above, make me a father to my son. I've got to be, you need to be, we need to be more than just dads, more than just friends. I got to be, we need to be, God help us be more than a baby's daddy. More than the baby's daddy. Thank you. So, after I sat in the county jail for a while, my parents, they blessed me by posting my bail. After 15 long months, I was released on bond. And the only thing on my mind was the fact that I was about to reconnect and bond with my son. Yeah. Finally, we had the chance to meet, greet, and eat. Yes, it was wonderful. And like most toddlers, my son used to fight his sleep. Like really fight his sleep bad. To the point where I wrote this next song in an attempt to help my little homie go to bed. The sad part about this song is the fact that he's only heard it a few times when he was about 15 months old. Seeing to how he's a teenager now, I highly doubt he remembers any of this. So Damian Ali, Ibn Al-Fil Cubba, this is your song. You'll never know when it's over. You'll never know when it's over. We never know when it's time for us to sleep and close our eyes. Time for us to hug so close. Time for you to look in my eyes. It's no longer time to play. Time for you to say good night. And I really wish that I could tell you where we go when we're not here. But there is one thing that I know, one thing that always seems clear, is you'll never know when it's over. You'll never know when it's over. We never know when it's time for us to sleep and close our eyes. So close your eyes and close your eyes and go to sleep. Go to sleep. Close your eyes. Close your eyes and go to sleep. Go to sleep.
Thank you so much, Ali, and I'm certain your son is going to be extremely glad to see that. By the way, this will be online at some point, so pay attention, okay? Love helps, love heals, love connects. But did you know that love also transforms? Our next speaker is a man whose very life is an example of the type of love that has a transformative power. His presence on this stage is going to be an example of the type of love that never fails. Please welcome Mr. James Rogalski.
I was born into an extremely loving family. Even though my parents got a divorce when I was 3 or 4 years old, there was no lack of love for my 3 older siblings and myself. My dad showed his love through gifts. He has always been a very humble individual with very few words and a tendency to battle his feelings. My mom is the complete opposite. She wears her heart on her sleeve and expresses her love through emotions and actions. At the age of 7, I was diagnosed with Tourette's syndrome. I was taken to different psychiatrists, prescribed countless meds. I felt like a lab rat. At the age of 11, I was prescribed Haldol. I was given 5 milligrams, but was supposed to have 0.5. I started having blackout spells and major outbursts. I was taken to St. Louis Children's Cardinal Glennon Hospital, where my stomach was pumped. I was restrained to the bed for my safety and the safety of others. I later found out, had I taken that dose for another 24 hours, I may not be here today. My parents came to the agreement to let me decide if I wanted to continue taking meds for my Tourette's or learn to cope on my own. I chose to stop. Shortly after, at the age of 12, I tried marijuana. Pot helped me control and slow down my tics, but at the same time, I enjoyed the high. I don't have a job, so how do I get it? I stole from my family. Why steal from the ones that love me? Was it my lack of empathy? Was it that I didn't care unless I had what I wanted? Or was it my mental illness? Over the next decade, the stealing from my family increasingly got worse. I stole from my parents, my siblings, my grandparents, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, my nieces, my nephews, and my stepfamily. No one was spared my harm. Yet I had the endless supply of love from everyone in my family. That all changed after October 24th, 2012. I was in a bad car accident while smoking pot with 2 others. The car rolled multiple times. I got ejected from the vehicle, and I suffered extreme head trauma. I was under doctor's orders not to work or drive for a year. After the accident, I experimented with things that I would not have prior to my accident. I got addicted to heroin. I did bad things, and in my eyes, I became a monster. And I am now incarcerated for the things that I have done. I have been incarcerated since February 28th of 2014. I don't remember the exact day, but it was roughly April or May of 14, between 18 to 19 months after my accident, that I woke up inside my cell in county jail and said to myself, what the hell has come of my life? I remember calling my mom and dad and telling them for the first time since my accident, I felt like myself. Again, I had endless amounts of love from both of my parents. My dad spent thousands of dollars on lawyer fees and sent me thousands of dollars for canteen. My mom never ran out of money on the phone. I can call her every single day and get endless emotional support. When it comes to the love from the rest of my family, I can't say that it is gone, but I don't know if I will ever be shown it again. I successfully completed a year-long drug treatment and was supposed to go home December of 2015. While I was in treatment, I found out that my dad had cancer, and I also remained sober. My dad reinsured me. He beat the cancer. I'd be home within 6 months, and I had nothing to worry about. Instead, I was taken back to county jail, and from there, 12 more years in prison. My dad's cancer did not get better. He had surgery and was declared terminal. I truly wish I could say that I did good, but I did the complete opposite. After I got those new 12 years, I turned back to drugs, wrongdoing the other inmates. I was spinning out of control, and my dad saw it all happen right before his eyes. In December of 2017, I was put in ADSEG, the prison within a prison. I was under investigation for extortion. I received an email from my dad saying, I thought you're going to stay out of trouble down there. You're making this a little harder on yourself, and it needs to be taken care of, Jim. Love, Dad. Less than 2 months later, on February 11th, 2018, my dad passed away. That was an all-time low for me. My dad was my best friend. I was so mad at myself because my dad loved me no matter what. He never turned his back on me. And at his darkest hour, I wasn't there. My family had to get hospice because they had to work. Maybe they would not have needed hospice if I was there. Shortly after my dad passed away, I made the promise to him that I would change for the better. I did not know how, but I knew that I had to do it to return the love he had given me all those years. As I spent days and weeks thinking, it dawned on me that I could not think of a single time in my life when my dad told me he was proud of me. That hit me to my core, making me realize, yes, my dad loved me with all his heart, but I could not think of anything I had successfully accomplished in my life, showing me just how much I took for granted the love of my family. That was the first time I prayed in years. I prayed for change. I gave up all drugs, changed my associates, and enrolled into Ashland University. Not hearing my dad say he was proud of me has turned into fuel and has kept me truly grounded over these past 6 years. I can proudly stand here today and say I am sober. I have graduated Ashland University with a bachelor's, honors, and a 3.4 GPA in April of 2023. I also fully committed my life to God May 1st of 2023 because of Real Vida Ministries. Over the years, I've had countless people tell me, your dad would be proud of the changes that you have made, but I refuse to let myself get complacent, to lose the new love I have for myself, my family, and others. Upon my release from prison, the first place I am going is my dad's grave. Whether it is raining, pouring, ice, sleet, or snow. Personally, I'm hoping for a sunny day. Coming to prison saved my life. Losing my dad made me a man. I stand here today saying, I love and I miss you, Dad. To everybody else, love has everything to do with it. Thank you and God bless.
Thanks again, James. Just another example of how there's so much more than what meets the eye. Our next presenter is an officer here at Farmington Correctional Center who has surprised us with his talent and vulnerability. Staff and others who know him say he can change your perspective on life with the positive choices that he has made in spite of his own struggles. Please help me welcome Officer Josh McDonald.
Hey, so I've been here for almost 10 years, and definitely those 10 years, whenever we were first hired on, we really didn't focus on how well we communicated. We didn't focus on how well we interacted. We were more taught to give those directives and make sure that those directives were followed. But with the programs coming to light, like the Missouri Reentry Program, CIT, we got more programs that we're using to be able to focus on learning to be better with our interactions, to overall have a positive influence. And I actually have a song that I wrote back whenever I was in high school, and I'd like to go ahead and sing that. I was 14, had the biggest shock of my life. Didn't think I had it in me to stay alive. I thought about dying, I thought it was the only way out. Then I finally realized what life is all about. You gotta be strong, cause you can't be weak. Never give in to defeat. Never say I can't take it, I just gotta throw a fit. Never give up, never give in. Say you can take it, take it. My life was starting to change, it was turning to something bad. I couldn't even imagine what was happening to my dad. Kept my pain inside, never wanted to bring it up. Then like a burning volcano, I would erupt. Gotta be strong, cause you can't be weak. You never give in to defeat. Never say, yeah, I can't take it. Sometimes you just gotta throw a fit. Never give up, never give in. Say you can take it, take it. I was standing right next to the cliff, just about ready to jump, when I heard a voice from above, said you can't give up. Standing right next to the cliff, just about ready to jump, when I heard a voice from above, said you can't give up. I'm gonna be strong, cause I can't be weak. I'm not gonna give in to defeat. I'm not gonna say I can't take it. This time I'm gonna throw a fit. I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. Because I can take it again.
That was awesome. That was awesome. I challenge anybody else that's on staff who wants to come up here and sing. And what really makes that remarkable is he only had 2 rehearsals with the music that our music team put together for him. Once again, Josh McDonald. All right, so I'm really excited about our next presenter. He is an author and speaker of many talents. But the one I want to mention most is his ability to remain connected to disadvantaged communities. He embodies the principle that no matter how far we go in life, we will be remembered most by the people that we reach back to help. So please help me welcome Mr. LeRon Barton.
I've always been fascinated about love. I even wrote a book about love, dating, marriage, and relationships. But I'm not here to talk about that. Today, I want to talk about how love has empowered me as a black man in America. I'm from Southside Kansas City. It's kind of a rough neighborhood. You grow up and see things maybe as a young person you shouldn't, such as drugs, weapons, poverty, and violence. My mother figured, listen, I'm raising 2 young black boys in the ghetto, so I have to be real about them. When I was 16, my mother gave my brother and I the talk, or what we as young black men need to do when we are confronted with the police. She said, remain calm, look them dead in the eye, say yes sir, no ma'am, and maybe you can walk away with a warning, a ticket, and your life. I think about that conversation. It's really close to my heart. My mother never sugarcoated anything about crime, and she wanted to keep us away from the temptations of the streets. Unfortunately, I didn't listen too good to those lessons as I began to drink and experiment with drugs. I was hanging around folks that love to party, have a good time, get high, and not think about the next day. It felt good to be around people that just love to just go out and just rage and just have fun. I got love for being around that crowd. There's a certain love you get from sharing a high or drunk with somebody. But as you know, when the music stops, everyone stops dancing. Folks either got sobered up or the high became so unattainable and the love went away. I almost got caught up with the syrup. My brother was carrying me in and out of cars when I was passed out drunk. I was getting arrested and just being in and out of jail. So I knew something had to change. I was just fucking up on a regular basis. I knew that I came too far for it to end like this. I needed to love myself. One of the strongest ways to show love is to believe in somebody. Believe in their dreams, help them, and support them. I remember when I first was gonna do my first TEDx. I was really nervous and I was doubting myself. I was like, look, I'm from the ghetto, I got a stutter, and I don't always speak the King's English. So I was talking with a homeboy of mine and I said, man, I don't think that I can do this. And he looked at me and he said, you can do this because you're LeRon Barton. That was so powerful. It hit me, it knocked me out and woke me back up. I said to myself, hell yeah, I can do this. I know where I'm from. I know what I can do. I know what I've been through. At a point in my life, I wanted to give back. I wanted to help out folks that look like me and come from where I come from. So I began to be a mentee to a young black boy and teach creative writing at the San Francisco County Jail. The men and I, we would talk about writing, books, we would write poetry together, and we share ideas. It was an incredible feeling. As much love as I thought I gave to my mentee and to the men, I got way more back. That's the thing about love, y'all. You receive way more than you give. I have an uncle in prison. I remember my uncle was a real cool, laid-back brother. He wasn't rah-rah or loud, he was just chill. When I found out that my uncle was locked up, it hurt my heart. He's no angel, but as I've always said before, being black is like walking a tightrope, and you have to balance dealing with racism as well as being true to who you are and where you come from. When I thought about my uncle locked up, I just would think about him being around people that didn't know him or loved him. When I would have conversations with some folks that were inside, they would always tell me, LeRon, people on the outside forget about you sooner or later. And I didn't want that to happen. So I began to write to him. Asked him how he was doing, kind of reintroduce myself and fill him in on the family. I wanted my uncle to know that we still love him, that I still love him, that there's still love out there for him. So many black families do this dance of trying to keep in contact with their loved ones while they're locked up. It's hard, but I can't have my uncle think that we don't care about him. Our love will lift him up no matter where he is. When I first started writing about race from the perspective of the black man in America, I wanted to talk about not only our experiences with racism, but to show our humanity. To talk about how not only are we smart, beautiful, and talented people, but that we are above any type of negative stereotype. I stand here before you today because there's been a gang of black men and women that have propped me up, told me I was gonna be something, poured love inside me, and now I have to do the same. Love is a verb, it's an action. It's constantly giving and receiving. I tell my family I love them. I tell my friends I love them. My homeboys, they get like a little freaked out when I say that, but it's all good. Love is powerful. You cannot hold on to it. When love comes to you, you have to give it away. I don't hold on to love. I just let it fly. If you're walking in gratitude and service, you will never run out of it. Love is our strongest resource. It is truly unlimited. Love has changed my life. And if you embrace love, I guarantee you it will change yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Barton. And he is just one example of how we have guests here at this event right now, not really just from all over the country, but we even have some out of the country. So just kind of take it in. This is a huge, monumental, historical moment, and we are super, super grateful to be a part of it. Once again, thank you, Mr. Barton from San Francisco, California. Side note, and this is not totally relevant, but I'm really curious. Keep in mind, this is St. Louis Cardinals home opener. Somebody keep me posted at first pitch, all right? Thank you, yeah. Our next presenter is a resident in our social rehabilitation unit, where he is grateful to a dedicated staff that teaches these residents how to accept and live with their various mental diagnoses. They've encouraged him to continue his passion for writing poetry, including the original piece he is about to share, written for someone who holds the key to unlock what could be. Here to artistically express emotions that many of us have felt, along with keys being played by Aaron Thomas, please welcome Mr. Willie McNeil.
To offer something, I have to have something. All I have is me, and who will want me? The good, the bad, the happy, the sad, the light, the dark. I have nothing to give behind these bars where I live. She has everything a woman needs. She has jewelry, money, clothes, cars, and a house, always able to put food in her children's mouth without help from others. What can I offer her? All I have is my trust in my heart. I've been betrayed by them both, misplaced and torn apart. Her love can never be stole, 'cause it's hidden deep down in my soul. Her secrets that I never told, her trust in me is worth more than gold. What could she want? Companionship? Mentally, physically, emotionally? Someone to tell all that she fears, or to share a moment so dear? What can I offer her? Her beauty cannot be matched. You'll have a better chance finding a four-leaf clover in a clover patch. All men hope to hold her hand, but I'm a fool to think I stand a chance. I promise never to go astray, 'cause her hold on me keeps all women at bay. To betray her love for one night of lust would be an unforgivable sin, and God would judge. What can I offer her? An angel from above, the envy of God's love, descending for all to see. My heart skips a beat just to look upon this beautiful masterpiece. My heart is tattered and torn by these demons, nails, claws, teeth, and horn. Will she take what I have to offer or laugh me to death till there's no breath in my body left? This riddle I leave to you. Give love, honor, respect, and be sincere. Hold nothing back. Did I offer anything? She'll be the judge of that. What can I offer her?
Thanks again, Mr. McNeil. Another hand for him, please. Thank you. Our next speaker has served as an inspiration to many because of the difficulty that we all face in the war of self-acceptance. This speaker has fought that fight and has come away victorious by learning to be comfortable in their own skin. Please welcome Sabrina Buddemeyer.
Good morning, everyone. In 8 months, I get to walk out the very front door that you came in today. And you're probably thinking that I cannot wait to be released. But I'm dreading it. I feel as if I'm about to get pushed out of an airplane over the middle of the ocean with nothing but the shirt on my back. That's because prison has been my home for the past 16 years. Where I've grown to know and love myself and my community. Please, don't misunderstand me, though. I want to leave just like everyone else. At the same time, leaving prison means leaving my family, friends, and community. The reality is, I don't know anyone outside of prison. Take my mom, for example. I love her. She is an amazing woman who's been there since I've been incarcerated. I call her at least once a week and often twice. She helps me financially and comes to visit once every couple years from Florida. Sadly, I know her better than anyone else in my biological family, who I only talk to 2 or 3 times a year for about 20 minutes. Even as close as I am to my mom, I don't know her like those I've seen every day for the past 16 years. In prison, my relationships were forged in one of the darkest places in our society. Here, trust is a sword that can literally get you killed or save your life. And as such, trust is given sparingly and earned through acts and deeds over great periods of time. However, it is amazing to instinctively know how those you are closest to are going to think or act. When I say these people are my family, I'm not exaggerating. I trust them with my life. But let me back up. Before I could forge these incredible connections, I had to forge an authentic one with myself. For years, I struggled with my identity because the world around me continuously told me I was wrong for seeing myself as female. So I did whatever I could to bury my feminine side in the deepest, darkest place within me. And while acting as Andrew Sapien, my birth name, I was a pseudo-country boy and soldier who lived to work hard and play even harder. I was a master of my craft. No detail was overlooked. From my ball cap and boots to eating green beans straight from the can, everything was meticulously planned to fit this character. I did whatever I could to seem normal because I was afraid and ashamed to be the person you see standing here now, Sabrina Buddemeyer. This was the darkest time of my life. And I was horrified that my body never looked or felt right, no matter how much I worked out. I was disgusted for liking that pair of heels or being envious of that lady's shade of lipstick. No. I was the eldest son of a Marine. It was my place to be the strongest, meanest, cockiest son of a bitch. Except I wasn't that person. The Department of Corrections stripped me of the award-winning role of Andrew Sapien in 2008. When they took my ball cap and boots and gave me grays, I was forced to take my costume off. All of the things I had put my faith in to keep my demons at bay were gone. And without realizing it, my workouts became focused on lower body and shaping, or I'd catch myself sitting with my legs tucked up underneath me as I read. I began contemplating what was going on with me in an objective way. Was I gay? No. I find both men and women attractive. Why did my body always feel so foreign? Why did I think differently than most of the men around me? I began looking for answers in books from the library. And in the end, it all led me back to the weird and deviant thing called transgender. However, this time, I was okay with that. Just not okay with being an outcast. Then I came across a documentary called The Lady of Valor, the story of a decorated Navy SEAL who was transgender, and it changed everything. I thought, here is someone who held the manliest title in our culture. She was just like me. She wasn't a freak or a pervert, but a respected person working to help veterans. This realization inspired me to discover who I was instead of who everyone thought I should be. I began to question everything from what I believed in to what foods I liked. I realized how much I hated smoking and quit. And when everyone was crying, "Bah humbug" for Christmas, I was singing and dancing because I love Christmas. I was finally becoming me. The transition from Sapien to Sabrina took years, even after I accepted myself. When I came out to the prison community, I was a little shocked. There was a flurry of gossip for a while, but no one really had a problem with me. And after finally being able to start hormone replacement therapy in January of 2020, I cannot express how happy I am in my own skin today. I finally feel normal, like the woman I am, instead of someone pretending to be a man. Which might make you wonder why I wasn't transferred to a women's prison. Well, the laws aren't quite that progressive yet. Another key part of learning to love myself was learning how to serve the people around me to make everyone's lives better. It started with a simple prep cook position in the kitchen where I learned I love doing a good job, being respected for the right reasons, and knowing people were enjoying what I'd done. The pinnacle of this was the 5 or 6 years I was employed in canteen. I loved the way that it pushed me mentally and physically to perform to the best of my abilities. And while I worked there, I took the time to learn every position and understand why things were done in specific ways so that I could be prepared to assist wherever I was needed. When a new head manager came in, it fell to me and a couple of other residents to train her because staff practically gave her the keys and just walked away. It was then that I realized how truly amazing it felt to be respected and trusted, which is very special in a place where we are usually looked at as deceitful and always trying to get over on staff. Then I fell in love. My husband, Jason, and I were married last September after spending 8 years in a cell together. In 2009, when I met him, it was like we've been friends for a very long time. 6 or 7 years later, Jason was there when I came out as transgender. He was the wrecking ball that tore down all of my remaining resistance to being myself. As I learned who I was, what I liked, and what I wanted, Jason was there patiently encouraging me to be me. For 8 years, our home was a cell the size of a parking space. Every morning we woke up and went to work. At the end of the day, we came home, talked about our day, and did CrossFit or yoga. In the evenings, we made dinner in the microwave or by boiling water with a heating coil, watched TV, and went to bed. How many of you think this sounds familiar? Sounds normal, right? Every week we figured out what we wanted to eat and needed for the house. If he didn't have the funds, I bought it, and vice versa. For holidays, we made special meals that we often shared with those who were financially challenged. On my birthday, he would do something special like make a puzzle card that had to be folded specific ways just to read the message. On Valentine's Day one year, I surprised him with a cheesecake decorated with strawberry preserves in the shape of a heart. It was our joy to make the other happy. We loved seeing the way each other's eyes would light up and feel that warmth wrapped around us. Show of hands. How many of you think you could have been this happy living in a bathroom with your spouse? Now, how many of your spouses would have disappeared under mysterious circumstances? All right. For the record, in 8 years, Jason and I only had a couple of arguments. Honestly, I've never met another couple who could have lived like this. And I wonder if I'll ever find this again. Because sadly, Jason's doing life without the possibility of parole. As of right now, he will never step foot outside of prison. When I was transferred here a little over a year ago, it tore my heart out to leave him. Kept imagining Jason going back to our cell, our home, and it being a dark, lifeless place filled with ghosts. For 10 months, I was a wreck. All I wanted to do was talk to him, to share my day with him. But policy mandated that we had to wait until we were married just to write each other. When I finally received my first letter from him, it was like spring after very, very long winter. Hope and life began to ease their way back into my heart. It's not the same as being right there beside him, but it's better than being completely cut off. When it comes down to it, fear is at the heart of the matter. You're not the only ones who fear us getting out of prison. Ironically, a lot of us fear it for a multitude of reasons. For me, I'm afraid to lose everything and everyone I know and love. I'm afraid to lose everything in my life again. And you may see incarcerated people as broken and lost souls, doomed to leave destruction wherever they go. The reality is, a lot of us discover and heal ourselves while incarcerated. We learn the joy of having purpose and potential for our futures. We create positive relationships and take pleasure in helping others. Prisons aren't just places of doom and gloom, but thriving communities where some people strive to be better and want to become assets to society when they get out. When I finally walk out the very front door that you will exit today, it'll take all of my courage. But I'll be bringing with me all the love, strength, and wisdom I've gained from my prison family over the years. Thank you.